Welcome to another edition of Wyatt Watch. We just continue this quest for me, Rasheed N.C. Wyatt, to become mayor of the city of Buffalo. And before I get into a lot, welcome back, Will.
Thank you so
You
much.
know,
Thank you so much.
You was out there in Venice,
man.
Italy.
Man, I was trying to see the Pope, man. You know what I'm saying? I got a glimpse at it, but I didn't really get there.
Yeah,
but it was a wonderful trip, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was only God.
Yeah,
that timing happened. That you were there for the conclave, perfect conclave.
May the 8th is gonna be in my mind forever. May the 8th. You know? It's just like what we get ready to talk about now. It's gonna be in our minds forever.
Sir. Yes, sir.
But May the 8th was a special day for me. Yeah.
Well, we thank you for being back. Thanks, Tony, for subbing. And Dr. Lawson. You know, we had they held it down, and we presented some information and did what we had to do. But we want to stop today and just pay our respects to those who lost loved ones 5/14. I want to again thank my friends at Mindframe Media. We went over there yesterday for these ceremonies and meeting with people and it wasn't just about meeting with people. It really was about hearing from people who have been impacted. Like I talked to some of the workers from Tops and how they continue to feel that eeriness of going into Tops, and a woman who said she just can't even go into the building.
That's the same thing with my wife. As a matter of fact, we were leaving town that day, and she went in there to get cold cuts the day before. She went in there and she saw the guy. She saw the guy, and she still carries that receipt around. And I try to tell her how nice the store looks now and how they remodeled it and all those types of things, but she's not interested in going in there at all. She drive way across town before she go in that house, right around the corner from our house.
And Will, I mean, but when we talk about mental illness, trauma, all those things play a serious role in our community.
That's right.
And not everybody understands that. It's almost like, when you tell people about, hey, when I go to the store, I have to make a decision between a gallon of milk or a loaf of bread or medicine. Some people can't even fathom that. Some people can't fathom the trauma that we've experienced. And I think the conversation that we had, and I want to give a shout out to Julian Hainsworth, the Emmy Award winning, and also Mark Talley, who lost his loved one in 5/14 and invited me over to speak. And even though they were trying to get me to talk about the political piece, I didn't feel comfortable talking about that. On that day, talking about politics when people are still hurting from 3 years ago. But the thing that hurts even more, just from the conversation I've had with people, is that they feel like nothing has changed there. The 5/14 happened. We come back and we go through this whole ceremony of commemoration. But it's still painful because nothing has changed. And I know right now they're looking at putting a monument there. And again, it ain't my decision, it's the people's decision. But some people said they'd rather see something different than a monument. They believe that there's a monument inside the Tops, there's a monument outside. How many monuments are you going to put? Because it's not going to make, from what they said, and this is what Mark Talley said, it's not going to make you feel any differently that you got 3 monuments. So they would like to see something more tangible as far as housing and those type things. Have a development created, in the memory of those who were lost. But again, I was honored to be there and pay my respects because that's what it's about. But I didn't want to do the politic thing. I wasn't out there, I was listening to people. And that was good. So thank you to my brothers, again, Mindframe Media, for covering it all and getting the conversations that we had with folks, because that was important. I wanted to be about that as opposed to, I'm running now. People know I was doing it, but I was trying to hear from them because it was their day to talk about what they were feeling. As a matter of fact, I want to mention Open Buffalo because they actually had a center where people could actually go upstairs and tell people what they were feeling or have a moment to just it's like a calming area just to deal with what they were feeling. And I'm like, wow, that was real. That was a powerful thing. And so I give them the utmost respect and congratulations to them and having that type of sensitivity.
Miss Parker has always been sensitive like that. I've been knowing Franchelle for a long time. And she's very sensitive that way. but it is a situation, Rasheed, where you are that type of person. Until people really get to know you. I get people calling us and telling me that we really appreciate that. When he came to our church, he stayed for our whole entire service. And so that is the type of vibe that you give people a lot of times. And so therefore, even with this, you understand, it was the same vibe, because I saw people trying to drag you into the political talk. Okay, I saw people trying to, on some of the stuff that Mind Frame recorded. I saw them trying to do it, and I saw you trying to fight that off. But sometimes people don't want to hear. They want to hear what they want to hear. So continue to be the person that you've always been in terms of, and that's what people like about you. That's why people navigate to you, because you're genuine in what you feel.
And we had an interview this past week also with Aaron 80.
Right.
And Ace, as you all know him.
Yeah, Ace.
Oh my, that was a powerful interview.
Yes, it
was. And
was.
again, I think sometimes we overlook the talent, just like the guys at Mind Frame Media, TJ and Khalil, what they do. We miss the forest for the trees, because we see these young brothers and we say, what do they know?
Right.
Well, they transitioned our whole program here.
Exactly.
Where it's official, it is professional, and people say, oh, wow. I have people all the time saying, I'll listen to your show. I thank you all for tuning in, because we're trying to give you the truth about this campaign. And I want you to know more about me. And I think many of you already told me, you know about me. So that's something. But Aaron went through and had 2 pieces of paper where he had everything written down.
That's right. He did his research.
Yes, he did. He did.
Yes, he did.
And I have much respect and appreciation for that.
There was a lot of stuff that I had forgot. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that happened. He did this. Okay. But he is a really good guy.
Yes,
also.
He is. Yes, he is.
He's a very humble guy. So it was my first time meeting, and I was so happy, to meet a person like him. Because it's hard sometimes to find somebody that's genuine. You understand? There's a lot of people that will gonna tell you that they genuine,
and then they ducking.
They hide you. You know what I'm saying?
And shout out to his mom, because his mom don't particularly care for politicians.
Exactly.
But she had a different look at me, and I appreciate that. It doesn't go to my head. And I want people to see that side of me. Yesterday, we also went to a forum in South Buffalo. And I'm going to tell you, I was so appreciative and to the Moose Lodge and the leaders, the block club leaders who invited me to come. Councilmember Scanlon couldn't be there. Well, acting Mayor Scanlon couldn't be there because they said he was ill. But the Republican gentleman was there, and we had good guys. And you know what? Let me say, and I'm just going to be 100. We kind of had some of the same ideas on some things. I'm not a Republican, but we kind of had some same vibes about how the city moves forward, about transparency, how we have to start looking at cutting our expenses and not looking for crazy revenues. But we had, Khalil was there. The interaction, Khalil, was just incredible, right? I mean, I wish I could get you on the scene because we were interacting, and it was a good conversation. And that's what I want my campaign. I want my mayorship to be about. Real conversation, brother. When you talk to me, it ain't because you're not a developer or somebody with money. I'm ignoring you. No, matter of fact, it was a police officer, CPO, that was there, and I talked about my plan about cutting overtime. And she had her comments about it, but she wasn't angry or anything. She was like, you're wrong. She said, in fact, it might be some of that. But at the end of the day, there's other things that we should be doing. Well, how about having the radar team out to get these people who are speeding? And I'm like, okay. That could be a revenue. Because, and I'm not trying to penalize anybody, but at the end of the day, y'all know for real, we got some folks driving out here crazy. And the number of accidents that we have on Bailey is just unprecedented. And the danger to our children, to seniors, to just anybody is crazy. And so if we can generate revenue from that aspect of it, because again, I don't want to do all that, but if it's for the safety of the citizens, just like the school cameras, I ain't down with no school cameras. That's over. That day is gone. Even though I know we want to make sure our schools are safe, but that was a gimmick. That was about the money. And I'm not about the money grab. I'm about what is it that's going to improve the quality of life. Like we talked about these fees and fines for these absentee landlords. Many of you call my office, and we're waiting for somebody to fix up their gutter because I have a senior who goes out in the winter, and because of the gutter hanging over and leaking, she's got to walk on ice. You know, and this person just continues to go after and do that. And so it's a lot of pieces that we have to address. But I think that, again, when we give the example of, you know, when I started in office, we had the problems of the house parties that I could count on. The media calling me in August, Councilman, what you gonna do this year about the parties? But now you don't have that.
Right.
They ain't calling me about parties because guess what?
Right.
If they're having a party and they get caught, police come out, it's a $1,500 fine.
Right.
Oh, they ain't gonna get that smoke.
Right.
You know, they ain't doing that. That day is over.
That's
so sometimes we have to, the consequence has to be a dollar amount.
Exactly.
You know, to stop people or get people to do what you want them to do, because at the end of the day, the folks over there, just like the folks on the east side, they're tired of blight.
Right.
They're tired of irresponsible landlords. And so in a lot of ways, we have a lot of common things that we need to be addressing. And that's what I want to do. And that's why, again, I thank the folks for allowing me to come there and having this conversation, because it was good conversation and it was respectful conversation.
Right.
Because nobody was screaming, you don't know what you're talking about. No, we were all on the same accord, because at the end of the day, what I'm talking about, reducing taxes so that they don't have to be paying 8-9% taxes, because as we talked about yesterday. Last year we had a tax increase. Last year we had a user fee increase. Last year we had a water increase. This year we have another increase in taxes. Next year they're proposing another increase in taxes and user fee and water. When is it going to end?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of going to South Buffalo like that. Because first off, if you're going to represent the whole city of Buffalo, you got to hear the woes and wows of everybody in this city. And for them to invite you, and you realize that they had some of the same problems that we have over here, and then some different problems that we don't have over here. But at the same time, they got a feel for you. From what I'm understanding from Khalil, they got a real feel for you, and to say, "Oh, well, we didn't know that." You understand? Because we're hearing this, and this. Now we'll be able to put our own thoughts together, and that was the beauty of them. And when I tell you, sometimes, no matter what people say, you still got to go into the belly of what we consider the beast. Because sometimes you don't know how that's going to turn out.
That's right.
You understand? It's just like the young man that was spewed out of the whale. You understand?
Jonah?
I always go there. You understand? And when he came out that whale, he was right. Okay? So these are the things that we have to take into account, that people, just because they don't look like us, that don't mean they don't hear what you say.
Absolutely. Because we bleed the same, and we all are trying to do the same thing. Because their concerns are similar to our concerns. They're concerned about what Trump is doing to Medicaid, cutting food stamps,
come on, man.
You know, cutting HEAP, all those things. We all have the same issues.
That's right.
But as I said to them, we have to control what we can control in the city.
That's right.
Because the other things I can't control. I wanted to say crazy man, but crazy. The man, he crazy. I'm telling you. But the other thing, Will, that was interesting, because when I started spitting out my financial experience, you should have saw their faces. And I'm not disparaging them. I don't know if they knew that.
They did.
When I told them I worked at a bank for 15 years, I was a chief financial officer when I was president of a credit union. They're looking at me like, whoa. And the lady came to me afterwards. She says, I'm glad that we have someone that has some financial experience running for mayor. She said, I'm glad. Came and shook my hand. Now, I ain't saying she endorsed me, but she did say, I'm glad to see that. And to me, that's a positive thing, because not everybody knows that. Not everybody knows about my financial experience, but they did know that I was a councilman in the university district. They didn't. The other guy, he said some things they didn't quite agree with. But like I told them, I'm not worried about who's not here. I'm here. I'm not disparaging nobody. It gives me more time to explain to you what I'm doing, what I want to do. So if you're not there, I'm taking it all up.
That's right.
So I have a number of forums that we're going to be publicizing on our website, so that, and on my Facebook page, so that you can tune in. I did have one regarding the environment that was a Zoom. But I do want to try to make sure that when we have those things, that we can put it on Facebook so that you can see and hear what I have to say on the other candidates. Because I think the more you hear, the more you can size up who you want to go for. I hope you're going for me, though. I'm just being honest.
Supposed to keep being honest.
I'm just being honest.
Right.
And the folks yesterday were that way. They were like, hey, you showed me some things today. And so if nothing else, that you are now considering me when you may have been going another direction.
Right.
I appreciate that. And I hope that, again, my background, if you go to my WyattForBuffaloMayor.com page, you can see everything about me. I believe we have a card that we want to hold up too, one of my palm cards, because if you just scan the QR code, you are going to be able to access what I'm telling you about Wyatt for Mayor. It's so cool. I know that seniors may not do this, but guess what? You can get your grandbaby to scan it for you, and you can see for yourself what it is about my campaign, what we're doing. And this is the palm card that you can scan the QR code, and you can pull up all the information. It shows you the video. You showed me other things that I've accomplished, and so this is good stuff that we're trying to make it more user friendly for you to get to know things about me, so you don't have to read a long book, a bio. You can just go there and it gives you the highlights. And we also want to invite you again to our this Saturday. We got Chevettas going on right here at 3435 Bailey from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're going to have, listen, this, everybody loves Chevettas dinner. Now we're gonna ask them to just charge just a little bit, but it's gonna be good. It's only $20. It's a donation that we're asking, and we hope that you'll come out right here at 3435 Bailey Avenue from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now I know so many people were calling us about the potato salad. They were calling us. They said that potato salad was slamming. Mm-hmm. Guess who made that potato salad? Mm-hmm. There he is. That's the man. He made that potato salad.
Yeah, my mama taught me good.
Yes, mama taught you good. Mama taught just like good. I cooked that fish last
That's right, man. Listen,
Come on, bro.
I ate that fish a day later, and I don't eat fish after that day. You know what I'm saying? It was good. I put it in the little grill. I said, okay, let me put it in here. I don't want to put it in the microwave. Man, that fish was off the chain. And everybody that I talked to that bought a dinner, they said, when y'all gonna do that again?
See, we ain't giving you no stuff just to get $1. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right. That's what my mama said. You said you're gonna do it it right.
Do it right.
And so we trying to do it right. So we're gonna have chicken, barbecue chicken, and I'm also gonna have baked beans and potato salad, the roll and the cake. Right. Come through 11 to 5 on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Saturday's supposed to be a nice day too.
Saturday's a little rain in the morning.
Okay.
So while they grilling, they might rain.
Oh yeah, it might rain.
Right after that, you come on, get your dinner.
Come get this dinner.
Right.
Help me out with the campaign, because we're trying to do some things, and you could help us in a big way. So we really appreciate everything that people have done. I mean, we've. The last week has been so powerful.
Yeah.
And, as you said, Will, it's going to be peaks and valleys in the campaign.
Exactly. All the time.
And it seems as though we're peaking at the right time.
Right.
Because we're people are hearing the issues.
Yeah.
And I'm not flip-flopping. I'm always been consistent in what my approach is. I don't try to chase after people. Mm-hmm. I know what I know, and I stand for what I believe. And and many of the things I'm talking about are things I've been talking about. Right. Just like the whole thing with the overtime. Mm-hmm. I didn't just start talking about that. If you can check the record, go on our finance committee, go back 2-3 years, go back as far as you want. But you will hear that Rasheed N.C. Wyatt has always spoke about the overtime and the impact on our budget. So had we stopped and slowed down that overtime, again, I can't cut the entire overtime out. That's, somebody said that, yes, we can't cut all the overtime out. That's just, that ain't gonna happen.
Some is mandated, right?
Yeah, a lot of it is mandated through the contract. And parts of it too, when you had a situation like 514, what you gonna do? Tell people to go home because you're getting too much overtime? That's not something that's feasible. Right. But cutting some of it out, if we had cut some of it last 3 or 4 years ago, over the last 5 years, $127 million. We owe right now $25 million for our user fee, because we haven't been able to maintain it. The user fee is part of what they call an enterprise fund, and as you pay into it, it's supposed to be self-sustaining. It's not, you're not supposed to be able to take you're not supposed to take any money from anywhere else to sustain that, but we have to the tune of about $2 million a year. So every time at the end of the year, we got to take $2 million out to cover the user fee, and so we have to make better decisions. In some cases, we may have to do that, increase the user fee so that it's sustaining for the next 3 years. Right. So we're not coming back to you in 2 years or next year saying, "Oh, we got to go up on the user fee."
Right. And let me say this too. the part that gets me the most about that overtime situation is how they try to put fear into people's hearts about what's going to happen. These firefighters and these police officers not insensitive, you understand, to what's going on. They see something going on, they're going to try to handle that. Right. That's what they were sworn to do. Right. You know what I mean? So it's not always about that. They have a situation where they want to be good Samaritans too. You understand? So, and that's what we all want to be. If we see something happening, somebody in a burning house, do you know how many stories I've seen so far where people ran in there to get somebody or doing what they're doing? And so don't be fearful. Oh, well, you know what? He trying to scare, he trying to do it, and he's getting people to go home early. No, they're not going to do that. No. They're not going to do that. No more than you would if you're being a good Samaritan.
Yeah. And you're going to hear a lot of fear mongering amongst people. Man. And I'm telling you the truth. I'm not making this up. They're going to act like Wyatt is trying to cut police fight. I've never said that.
Never.
I said cut the overtime.
That's right.
And so please hear me clearly and share with your friends, because that's the issue. They want to misrepresent the things that I say. That's why I have this Wyatt's Watch, so that you can hear specifically from me, unfiltered. And, as I told Aaron when you came on the show, his show, he said, well, I'm not going to try to, get you on anything. I said, no. I said, Willie comes because he has a perspective. It ain't about spinning. It's a perspective of years of experience.
Exactly.
Because you worked in City Hall for how many years?
For 12.
For 12 years.
Yes, sir. Know what goes on.
Yeah.
Okay. Chief of Staff for a number of years. I know most folks remember Beverly Gray.
Yeah,
most folks remember Brian Davis.
Yeah.
I was Chief of Staff for both of those in City Hall for a number of years. And guess what? The process doesn't change that much. It has not changed because most of it is governed by the charter. So it's not nothing that's going to really change, not nothing but they can change in how they write different things and how they do different things. And so I understand his plight and where he's at and what he's doing and what he's trying to do when some people just wanted to stay the same. Okay, but the bottom line of it is, if you just wanted to stay the same, then you probably not going to vote for Rasheed N.C. Wyatt. But if you want some real change in this city, okay, listen to everybody else and see what they're talking about as it relates to change. They're not trying to change. They're not trying. We still don't know what the deficit is. We don't know if it's 30, 40, 50, 70. You done heard so many of them, and they ain't really telling us the truth. Okay? But when you hear Rasheed try to get to the truth, they're going to start calling him names because they don't want to tackle the issue. And that's what we're not here for.
And I'm not here to spin. I give you the facts. The last thing that Dr. Lawson, again, thank Dr. Lawson, who has helped us get a lot of information and data as it relates to the budget. He did some research on the administrative budget, and that's the mayor's budget with the people that he has. He has many six-figure salaries in that budget.
Right.
That budget went from 2018 from 1 million to 2 million.
Right.
So again, we have to start cutting the fat.
Right.
Where is it that those things are affecting? How are those things impacting the quality of life of residents?
Right.
We have to start looking at things in those terms. There's things that we're going to have to make some adjustments to. There's some things that we may have to expand because again, my focus is on you, the resident. What is it that we should be doing, and how should we be approaching you in this budget? Because it should be things that we are looking at that we may need to move out the way. Some things we may need to cut because it doesn't impact the quality of life for the resident. Because I don't agree with let's look at recycling every other week when we've already gotten people into a mindset of recycling every week, because that is a way to save money. If we put it in a landfill, it's going to cost, and what's going to go up? Your user fee. And so a lot of this stuff makes sense, but it takes someone explaining it to you, taking the time and explaining it to you so you know how it works. Because at the end of the day, these folks are talking about things that I don't agree with. I don't agree with selling the parking ramps, and I think I mentioned to you all that before. The parking ramps, from what the controller said before the pandemic, was giving us $7 million annually. Why would we be selling parking ramps when we're getting $7 million? I don't know. The whole thing with the hotel tax. Now, I know we need additional revenues, but I think if we start cutting some expenses, that will help us. But the revenues that we're looking for the bed tax, I'm looking for hotel people to tell me that this is a good thing, because many of them say it's not. And so the budget's coming up for a vote soon. We're going to have conversations tomorrow. We're going to, explore it. But I need people to let me know that from the hospitality industry that you're okay with the 3%, because many of you, the people I've talked to who are indirectly not hotel owners, but they know the impact as GMs that this 3% may hurt them. I need those people to come and say to me, Wyatt, we're okay with that, and I'm not hurt them,
right?
And so again, I don't want to be a doubting Thomas, but it doesn't make sense when people in the hospitality industry have already had concerns on this whole thing that it's going to hurt tourism and those things, and you can't say it can't, because I'm going. Seeing these people, people are watching they die, their pennies and their nickels.
That's right.
I agree. And so if I can save it going to Cheektowaga, and the Buffalo's only 3 minutes away, I'm going to go to Cheektowaga
and save that money.
Yeah,
no question.
And so it's a reality to it. So again, I like I said, we keep doing things that hurt us and not help us. And who does it fall back on? Just like I said to the folks yesterday, it falls back on you. When we make these bad decisions, you might sit there and be like, oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay, because when you gotta go and deal with that tax increase again next year, and the user fee hit next year, and the water increase next year, I don't think you're gonna be happy.
Not at all.
And so that's the reality. That's where I come in. I'm dealing with the reality of knowing that decisions I make and my administration make is going to affect you. At the end of the day, I want to make sure I make the best decision that doesn't impact you negatively. Now, I'm not going to sit here and again tell you that we're not going to increase taxes. We do. We have to increase taxes, but I don't want it to be to the extent that we're looking at 5, 6, 7%, because that 8% right now, that's what's on the table right now, 8%, and hopefully, through our deliberations, because we're supposed to have a meeting tomorrow, that'll be reduced. But at the end of the day, my job, the mayor's job, the servant leader's job is to serve the people and make sure we put them in the best position to win. Will, you as a point guard, your job was to make sure your team was in the best position to win. My big man, my forward, you had to make sure, and that's how I feel about my position. My job is to make sure we're in the best position to win, because there's so many things happening right now to the federal government, and I can't say that enough. That we have to be paying attention to this. We have to be paying attention to the city's finances. I can't control the federal government, but what I can control is keeping you informed, and I'm going to need you to stand with me when I get in, because it's not going to be just Wyatt by himself talking this stuff. I'm going to be talking this stuff and talking the truth with you and how we move forward, because that's so important. So this has been another show that, again, I think we put truth to power. We've been out here in the community talking to so many people, and again, I'm grateful for those who have said, I'm going to vote for you. We have to vote. June 14th is early voting.
That's right.
June 24th is the election
day.
We need you to vote. If you believe in me, come to our campaign office. Can use people to do canvassing. We can use people to do phone banking. It's getting close to that time.
That's right.
And if you really believe in me, I'm asking you, if you've said to me over this last several months that I'm with you, I'm going to come down there, I'm going to support you, this is the time we need you. This is crunch time. And so come through 3435 Bailey Avenue. Me or Willie or our team is going to be here every week from Monday to Saturday. Sunday we in church.
That's right. Got to be.
We ain't playing on Sunday.
Got to be there.
But Monday through Saturday we are here from 1 to 6 p.m. Come through. We can use your help. And if you are a friend and you care about this city, we need you right now. We please don't delay. Come through 3435 Bailey Avenue to assist. And Rasheed NC Wyatt for mayor. Real change. We need you. We'll see you next week.
See you.